The sky above Earth suddenly darkened as a massive alien fleet appeared, stretching across the horizon like a wall of fire and steel. Their ships glowed a deep red, humming with strange energy that made the air vibrate and cities tremble. Panic spread instantly around the world as people stared up in fear and governments scrambled to respond. Messages flooded every channel, not warnings, but mocking words. The aliens laughed at humanity, calling them weak, unprepared, and insignificant. Entire populations froze in terror while the elite of nations argued about what to do next. Amid the chaos, deep underground in a hidden command base, Captain Rena remained calm. Her eyes scanned the holographic displays, her mind racing faster than anyone could imagine. She whispered one secret order to her team, and though no one fully understood it, there was a quiet hope in the command room. Outside, the first attacks began. Alien ships unleashed beams of energy that tore through major cities, reducing skyscrapers to molten steel and turning highways into rivers of fire. Humanity's conventional weapons, missiles, and fighter jets proved useless against the alien technology. Explosions erupted in every major capital as sirens screamed through terrified streets. Amid this destruction, Rena acted quickly, assembling a small squad of elite pilots for a counterattack that many thought impossible. Their mission was dangerous. They had to fly directly into alien territory to plant a mysterious device discovered by scientists in the chaos of evacuation. The journey was fraught with tension as alien patrols moved like shadows across space, scanning for anything human. Every pilot felt the weight of the world on their shoulders, knowing a single mistake could end life on Earth as they knew it. When they reached the alien stronghold, the squad discovered a strange technology unlike anything humans had ever seen. It pulsed with energy and seemed almost alive. Panic and confusion struck the team as they tried to understand it under extreme pressure. Rena watched as her pilots struggled, knowing that if they failed, Earth would be destroyed within minutes. Yet they pressed on, driven by courage and desperation. But tension inside the squad was not limited to the danger of the mission. One of their scientists had secretly begun sending information to the aliens, betraying humanity from within. One pilot noticed strange signals being transmitted, and the realization of betrayal sent a shiver through the group. Suspense gripped every member as they raced to find the traitor before it was too late, knowing the aliens could exploit even a single weakness. Amid this tension, Captain Rena made a bold decision. She volunteered to fly a single fighter directly into the alien mothership, a ship so vast that it seemed to blot out the stars. The journey was terrifying. Alien patrols swarmed the area like sharks, and every moment felt like a battle between life and death. The thought of one human ship facing an entire alien fleet seemed impossible, yet Rena's determination shone through. Her fingers gripped the controls as the mothership loomed closer, knowing that the fate of all humanity rested on her courage. Back on Earth, the squad activated the mysterious device remotely. Alien ships began to malfunction, engines exploded, weapons shut down, and chaos spread through the enemy lines. Humanity had finally struck back, but the aliens still had one ultimate weapon, hidden and deadly, threatening to wipe out everything in seconds. Pilots and scientists worked frantically, their teamwork and ingenuity pushing human technology and courage beyond known limits. Then, after what felt like eternity, the alien fleet began to fall apart. Ships exploded one after another, their massive forms crashing into space as humanity's courage and cleverness turned the tide. Captain Rena emerged victorious, though not without sacrifice. She returned to Earth to cheers and celebrations, but the cost of victory was visible everywhere. Cities lay in ruins, families were lost, and the scars of battle marked the planet forever. Even as humans celebrated, unknown signals pulsed from deep space, hinting that this victory might only be temporary. Somewhere in the vast universe, other observers watched humanity closely, noting their stubborn courage, their refusal to surrender, and their astonishing ability to fight back against overwhelming odds. The stars, once a place of fear, now burned with the proof that humans were not weak. Humanity had faced impossible threats and survived, their spirit blazing like a supernova in the cold darkness. Captain Rena looked up at the night sky, her mind both proud and wary, knowing the universe was vast and full of dangers yet unseen. She had led humanity to a victory that would be remembered forever, but she understood that survival was not just about winning a single battle. It was about the will to never give up, about learning and growing stronger with every threat. Earth slowly began to rebuild, nations coming together in awe of what humans could accomplish. Children in every corner of the planet stared at the sky with hope and curiosity, inspired by stories of courage and defiance. Humans had made the stars burn, not with fire or destruction, but with the undeniable truth that they could never be easily defeated. And yet, the signals continued, a quiet warning that the universe was watching, learning, and waiting. Humanity had won this battle, but the war for the stars had only just begun. Captain Rena's eyes narrowed as she planned the next steps. She knew that humanity had to be ready, stronger, and smarter than ever, for whatever challenge might come next. The story of Earth's defiance was only beginning, and the universe would remember the day humans refused to surrender. The alien fleet had settled into orbit, casting deep shadows over the Earth's surface. Cities that had barely survived the initial arrival now faced the full fury of the invaders. Without warning, beams of red energy sliced through skyscrapers, streets, and bridges, turning bustling metropolises into smoking ruins. Sirens wailed, people screamed, and panic became a tangible force as chaos spread in every corner of the planet. Humanity's conventional weapons, jets, missiles, and even nuclear arsenals, proved almost useless. Every attack that humans launched seemed to bounce off alien shields or explode harmlessly against ships that were far too advanced to be destroyed by anything Earth had. In one underground control base, Captain Rena watched the destruction with cold precision. She saw the world in flames but refused to succumb to fear. The data flashed on her monitors, showing the alien movements and weaknesses, and a plan began to form in her mind. She knew they could not fight the fleet head-on. A frontal attack would mean certain death. Instead, she began assembling a small squad of elite pilots, each handpicked for courage, skill, and loyalty. These were people who could think and act under pressure, and they were humanity's best hope. The mission was simple in words but nearly impossible in practice: infiltrate alien territory, evade patrols, and plant a device that could disrupt the alien systems. Scientists in the control room explained that the device was still partially untested, a prototype built from scavenged alien technology mixed with human ingenuity. It was the only chance humanity had, and failure would mean total annihilation. The pilots prepared for takeoff, their faces tense but determined. Each of them carried the weight of every life on Earth, knowing that if they failed, billions would die. Rena spoke to them calmly, giving instructions with clarity that inspired confidence even as alarms screamed in the background. The squad launched, piercing through clouds and anti-air defenses, heading toward the alien stronghold. The journey through orbit was like navigating a storm of fire. Alien patrols moved silently but deadly, scanning for any signs of human resistance. Every pilot felt the pulse of fear in their veins, yet they pressed forward, trusting Rena's strategy and the skill of their companions. Explosions from distant cities lit the horizon, casting red shadows across the squad's cockpit panels. It was a visual reminder of what was at stake: humanity's survival. The humans moved with precision, darting between alien sensor sweeps, sometimes just escaping detection by centimeters. The tension was unbearable. One wrong move, one miscalculation, could trigger the aliens' attention and doom the mission. Inside the mothership's orbit, the squad observed something astonishing. The alien ships were not as invincible as they appeared. Rena noted small gaps in their formation, areas where the shields flickered briefly, and weaknesses in the timing of their patrols. It gave her a sliver of hope. She directed the squad to exploit these gaps, weaving through narrow corridors of deadly energy. As they advanced, the aliens noticed small disturbances, and several ships adjusted their course. The tension escalated. Humans could feel the enemy closing in, but their determination never wavered. The device they carried was bulky and strange-looking, humming with an energy that felt alive. It was a mix of human design and reverse-engineered alien technology, something no one outside the control base fully understood. Pilots argued briefly about placement and timing, but Rena's voice cut through the tension with authority. They had only one chance, and hesitation would mean failure. When they finally reached the heart of alien territory, every human in the squad could see the vastness of the enemy fleet. Ships stretched as far as the eye could see, bristling with weapons, and glowing with an ominous red hue. It was terrifying, but Rena's courage was contagious. She reminded them that they were humanity's best hope and that they were not fighting alone. Back on Earth, the control base monitored every move with bated breath. Scientists ran calculations, adjusting coordinates, and feeding data to the squad in real time. Everyone knew that a single error could trigger catastrophe, but humanity's ingenuity was their secret weapon. The squad moved into position. Rena gave the final order, and the device was deployed. Instantly, it emitted a pulse of energy that rippled through the alien formation, causing small malfunctions and confusion. Ships shuddered, and lights flickered. It was a small victory, but enough to give the pilots momentum. The aliens began to react, sending patrols and countermeasures in a desperate attempt to protect their stronghold. The squad maneuvered through the chaos, using speed, skill, and quick thinking to stay ahead. Explosions erupted nearby, but none struck them. Every second was a test of nerves, courage, and precision. Despite the fear, there was a sense of pride in every pilot. They were fighting for the entire planet. They had faced impossible odds, yet they refused to give in. The squad's mission was far from over, but the first strike had shown that humans were not powerless. The aliens might be stronger and more advanced, but Earth had something they could not predict: bravery, determination, and the will to survive. As the squad began their journey back, minor victories in the fleet's formation signaled that humanity's plan might actually work. The world below could only hope, watch, and pray as the elite pilots of Earth proved that one small group of humans could challenge an entire alien fleet. Captain Rena's mind raced with the next steps, knowing that this was only the beginning of a much larger struggle. Humanity had struck back for the first time, and the aliens were beginning to realize that mocking Earth had been a grave mistake. The first strike was a message: humans would not surrender, and their fight for survival had only just begun. The human squad had survived their first strike, but the battle was far from over. As they retreated from the alien stronghold, the pilots reported strange readings on their instruments. The device they had planted was working partially, but it also revealed something unexpected: a hidden weapon inside the alien mothership. Unlike the familiar red glowing ships, this weapon pulsed with a dark energy, almost alive, and its purpose was unclear. Captain Rena stared at the display, her brow furrowed. She realized that if humanity did not understand and control this weapon, it could destroy Earth faster than the alien fleet ever could. She called her squad together, and in the tense silence of their cockpit, she explained what the reading suggested. The hidden weapon could be used against the aliens themselves, but only if they could figure out how to activate it safely. The challenge was enormous. The team had never seen anything like it, and time was running out. Each pilot felt a growing pressure, not just from the aliens outside, but from the possibility that the weapon could backfire and end humanity in seconds. Back on Earth, scientists scrambled to analyze the data. They worked frantically, comparing alien schematics, human engineering, and intercepted signals. Every calculation had to be perfect. One mistake and the hidden weapon could explode uncontrollably. Rena and her pilots followed instructions from the base, adjusting their maneuvers as they approached the alien mothership again. Space around them was tense and dangerous. Alien patrols moved in unpredictable patterns, and the faint hum of the hidden weapon seemed to pulse through their suits like a heartbeat. Every movement felt critical, every second counted. Inside the mothership's orbit, the pilots discovered that the weapon was larger and more complex than they had imagined. It was surrounded by shields and traps, designed to keep humans away. Rena's mind raced with strategies. They could not attack directly. They had to infiltrate the weapon's control area, plant stabilizers, and find a way to turn it against the aliens. The mission was nearly impossible, and yet, her team trusted her leadership completely. One by one, the pilots maneuvered their small ships through narrow gaps in the alien defenses. Every moment, a ship could be detected and destroyed. The tension was unbearable. Explosions from distant battles lit the darkness of space, reflecting off their cockpits like warning signals. Yet Rena remained focused, giving orders with calm authority. When they finally reached the hidden weapon, its scale shocked even the most experienced pilots. It was like a small planet inside the mothership, glowing with dark energy that seemed to respond to their presence. The squad sensors could barely process its complexity. The device they carried could stabilize the weapon, but connecting it required precise timing and extreme courage. As the pilots worked, a faint signal interrupted their operations. It was from the traitor among the humans, a scientist secretly aiding the aliens. Panic surged through the squad. If the aliens received any hint of their plan, Earth could be destroyed immediately. Rena's voice cut through the fear. They had one chance, and they had to focus entirely on the mission. Step by step, the pilots followed the procedure, linking the stabilizer device to the alien weapon. Sparks flew, energy pulses surged, and alarms echoed from the mothership. Each connection felt like threading a needle under fire. One wrong move could trigger a chain reaction that would obliterate the pilots and the weapon itself. Sweat ran down faces inside the helmets, hearts pounded, and yet they persevered. Slowly, the weapon began to respond to the human device. The dark energy, once threatening, now pulsed in rhythm with their control signals. It was a delicate balance. Rena realized that this weapon, if fully understood, could turn the tide of the war. But the aliens were not idle. Patrol ships began closing in, sensing the disruption in their fleet. Beams of energy sliced through space, narrowly missing the pilots as they continued their work. Each second was critical. Delay could mean destruction. The human pilots moved like a single organism, communicating with gestures and quick signals, trusting each other completely. They were far from home, surrounded by an enemy far stronger than anything they had known, yet they refused to surrender. As the final stabilizers were connected, the weapon hummed with a new energy. The pilots could feel its power, and Rena gave the command to initiate the device. A pulse of energy shot through the mothership, causing smaller ships to malfunction and systems to flicker. The hidden weapon, once a threat, was now a human advantage. The aliens did not yet understand what had happened. From Earth, scientists watched the readings in awe. Humanity had achieved what no one thought possible. They had turned the alien weapon into an asset without fully knowing how it worked. It was dangerous, yes, but it was also brilliant. The pilots held their breath, knowing that one mistake now could destroy everything. The weapon's energy pulsed stronger, ready to be used against the enemy fleet. The squad began plotting their next move, how to deploy this power to strike back at the aliens and defend Earth. For the first time, there was hope. The fear that had gripped humanity since the alien arrival began to fade, replaced with determination and courage. Captain Rena looked at her team, proud of their bravery, but aware that their struggle was far from over. The hidden weapon was now humanity's secret, a chance to fight back in ways the aliens could not predict. As they prepared to leave the mothership's orbit, Rena felt the weight of responsibility. The device was only the beginning. Earth's fate still depended on courage, intelligence, and the will to survive. And as they headed back toward the planet, she knew one truth: humans were not weak, and the aliens had learned that too late. The human squad had returned from their first strike, and the hidden weapon was now partially under their control, giving Earth a glimmer of hope. But in the quiet of the underground control base, tension grew. Captain Rena reviewed incoming data when a strange signal appeared on one of the monitors. It was faint, almost unnoticeable, but it didn't match any known human transmissions. Her eyes narrowed as she traced the origin. Shock ran through her as she realized it came from one of their own, a human scientist who had been assisting with the device's design. The thought was impossible at first. This scientist, Dr. Varric, had been trusted, respected, and regarded as a brilliant mind. Could he really be helping the aliens? The data made it clear. He was sending key information about the hidden weapon to the enemy fleet. Panic bubbled under the calm surface of the control room. Rena quickly called her pilots together. "We may have a traitor," she said quietly. "We need to find out who it is before it's too late." The squad exchanged worried glances. Betrayal from within was a danger they had not prepared for, yet they knew they could not hesitate. Every second mattered. While the pilots prepared for the next mission, Rena instructed the technical team to monitor all transmissions from the base and the ships in orbit. They began hunting for anomalies, scanning every message, every code, every signal. Suspense grew as the truth slowly emerged. Dr. Varric was cunning, careful not to be detected, but even the smallest mistake in his transmission revealed his location. The squad felt a mix of anger, disbelief, and fear. One of their own was aiding the enemy, and that betrayal could cost billions of lives. Rena knew they had to act quickly. She ordered 2 pilots, Jalen and Myra, to confront Varric while the rest of the squad prepared for the next mission. Jalen and Myra moved silently through the corridors of the underground base, tense and ready for confrontation. They found Varric in the lab, seemingly absorbed in calculations. He looked up, feigning calm, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. "Dr. Varric," Jalen said firmly, "we know what you've been doing. Stop this now, or you'll pay the consequences." Varric smiled faintly, a cold, calculating expression. "You don't understand," he said. "This is bigger than Earth. The aliens are evolving. They will win. I am only ensuring survival, for some. Myra's anger flared. Your betrayal will destroy everyone, she shouted. But before they could do more, an alarm blared. Alien ships had detected the squad's recent maneuvers. The mothership's weapons locked onto Earth's orbit, and red beams swept through space. The moment of confrontation was now combined with imminent danger. Rena, monitoring the situation from the control base, instructed the pilots to subdue Varric and secure the lab while keeping the operation going. The squad worked quickly, their focus absolute. They restrained Varric and confiscated any equipment that could be used against them. But the betrayal left a lingering doubt. How much damage had he already done? Signals showed that small disruptions were happening within their systems, possibly sabotage from Varric's transmissions. Time was running out, and there was no margin for error. With the traitor contained, Rena turned her attention back to the mission. The squad had to continue, knowing that the hidden weapon's potential could not be wasted. Rena briefed the pilots on the next step: infiltrate the alien fleet again, this time to use the weapon against enemy ships, while ensuring Varric could no longer interfere. The pilots nodded, their trust in each other renewed, but the shadow of betrayal lingered. As the human ships prepared for launch, tension hung in the air like a storm. Alien patrols had intensified, possibly reacting to Varric's prior information. Every maneuver had to be precise. One mistake could trigger a catastrophic counterattack. The squad moved out, threading through alien defenses, guided by Rena's sharp commands. The hidden weapon pulsed in the distance, waiting for deployment, its energy flickering like a heartbeat in space. Pilots felt a mixture of fear and determination. They knew that failure was no longer an option. Earth depended on them, and the betrayal of one person had reminded them just how fragile hope could be. Yet, even under this pressure, the team moved with precision and courage. The alien fleet loomed larger than ever, their ships bristling with energy and weapons. But humans had learned to adapt, to use cunning, teamwork, and bravery to survive where brute force alone could not. The squad reached the vicinity of the hidden weapon, ready to deploy it strategically. Rena took a deep breath, knowing the stakes had never been higher. Any misstep could end humanity's fight before it truly began. The weapon responded to the human control signals, pulsating with power, and the squad felt a surge of confidence. For the first time, they had not just survived, they were prepared to fight back. And though the shadow of Varric's betrayal remained, it had also strengthened their resolve. The humans knew now that their enemy was cunning and ruthless, but so were they. As they maneuvered into position to use the weapon against the alien fleet, Rena reflected on the lessons learned. Trust must be earned, courage is essential, and even the smallest act of betrayal can teach a team the importance of unity. The pilots glanced at one another, understanding the unspoken truth. Their fight was far from over, but together they were unstoppable. The aliens had assumed humans would panic, surrender, or fail. But humanity had learned, adapted, and grown stronger under pressure. The hidden weapon was now in human hands, ready to turn the tide. And as the squad prepared for the next strike, suspense filled the air. The betrayal had been a warning, but also a spark, igniting a new determination in every human heart. Earth's defenders were ready. They would not give up. They would not fail. And the universe was about to witness a force far greater than the aliens had ever imagined, humans who refused to surrender. The hidden weapon was now partially under human control, and Earth's hope had grown, but the next step demanded a courage few could imagine. Captain Rena made a decision that stunned everyone. She would take a single fighter into the heart of the alien mothership. The squad's faces reflected shock, fear, and awe. One ship against the entire fleet, one pilot whispered. Rena's eyes were steady. It's the only way, she said. If we succeed, we can turn the weapon fully against them and give humanity a real chance. In the hangar, her fighter gleamed under dim lights, small and fragile compared to the massive alien ships looming in orbit. The hum of the engines sounded almost like a heartbeat, steady and relentless. Engineers rushed to make final checks while Rena ran through her mental plan. Every system had to work perfectly. One failure would mean death. The control base monitored every detail. Scientists gave updates on alien patrol patterns, shield fluctuations, and weapon positions. The tension in the room was palpable. Everyone understood the stakes. If Rena failed, Earth could be annihilated in minutes. The countdown began, and the hangar doors opened. Rena's fighter shot into the sky like a silver arrow. Outside, Space was a terrifying landscape of red alien ships, glowing beams, and energy pulses. Every move was critical. Alien patrols circled in precise patterns, scanning for intruders. Each moment, the smallest mistake could trigger detection and instant destruction. Rena's hands gripped the controls, her mind focused on every detail. Fear existed, but it was harnessed, channeled into sharp, calculated action. She weaved through the patrols, diving between ships and slipping through gaps smaller than her fighter. Every movement was a test of skill, courage, and nerve. Explosions from distant battles painted streaks of red across the darkness of space. The sight was terrifying, but Rena's determination never wavered. As she approached the mothership, the scale of the enemy became clear. The ship was enormous, larger than any city on Earth, bristling with energy weapons and shields that pulsed with dark power. The hidden weapons core glowed faintly inside, waiting to be activated. Rena's mission was simple in words but impossible in action: infiltrate the mothership, deploy stabilizers to the hidden weapon, and survive long enough for humanity to strike. The fighter ducked under a massive energy beam and narrowly escaped a patrol ship that sliced past at lightning speed. Rena's mind raced, calculating trajectories, predicting enemy movements, and adjusting her course in milliseconds. Every second was a fight for survival. Inside the control base on Earth, Captain Rena's squad monitored her progress. Sweat ran down their faces, hearts pounding as they watched her daring maneuvers. The fate of billions rested on her shoulders. "Stay calm, stay focused," Rena whispered to herself, though her voice was barely audible over the hum of her fighter. As she entered the mothership's inner orbit, defenses intensified. Lasers swept across corridors of space, energy nets blocked paths, and alien drones buzzed like angry hornets. Yet Rena's courage did not falter. She remembered why she volunteered for this mission. Humanity needed a chance, and no one else could take it. The fighter weaved, dodged, and climbed through layers of alien defenses. Rena's focus sharpened, every decision precise, every movement deliberate. She reached the core where the hidden weapon pulsed, dark energy vibrating like a living thing. Deploying the stabilizers was dangerous. Any misstep could overload the weapon, destroying the mothership and her fighter instantly. Rena worked quickly, linking devices, monitoring energy flows, and adjusting systems with steady hands. Sparks flew and alarms blared, but she completed the connection. The weapon responded immediately, its pulse aligning with human signals. For the first time, the hidden weapon was fully under human control. The mothership systems began to glitch. Smaller ships nearby faltered and weapons misfired. Rena's risk had worked. But the danger was far from over. Alien patrols began converging on the core, detecting disruptions in their systems. Every second counted. Escape was critical. Rena calculated the path back through the patrols, racing against time. She dodged beams, slipped past drones, and finally emerged from the inner orbit into open space. Relief surged briefly, but the mission's tension never truly left her. Back on Earth, the control base erupted with cheers. The device had worked, the hidden weapon was now humanity's, and Captain Rena had survived against impossible odds. Yet even in celebration, the squad knew the fight was not over. The aliens were still powerful, still dangerous, and still capable of annihilation. The solo flight had been a test, a proof that humans could achieve the impossible, but future battles loomed on the horizon. Rena's bravery became a symbol, inspiring every pilot, engineer, and citizen on Earth. Her courage proved that one determined human could change the course of a war, even against a fleet that seemed unstoppable. As she returned to base, the fighter's systems glowing and the stabilizers secure, Rena allowed herself a brief moment to breathe. She knew more missions lay ahead, more dangers, more sacrifices, but for now, she had given humanity a real chance. The stars, once terrifying, now seemed a little brighter. One human had faced the impossible and survived. The aliens had underestimated humans, assuming fear and panic would dominate. They had learned too late that humans did not surrender easily. Rena's solo flight was a warning, a message to the universe. Earth would fight, humans would survive, and the stars were not theirs to claim without a battle. The squad welcomed her back with pride, knowing that together, with courage, ingenuity, and determination, humanity could face any threat. And as the planet below began to hope again, Rena gazed at the endless sky, ready for the next challenge. She knew that this was only the beginning of a war that would test every human heart, mind, and soul. But one thing was certain: humans would not give up, and the universe would never forget the day one fighter defied an entire alien fleet. The hidden weapon was now fully under human control, thanks to Captain Rena's daring solo flight, and Earth had a fighting chance. The alien fleet, once confident and mocking, began to falter. Ships that had seemed unstoppable now glitched and failed under the subtle influence of the human device. In the underground control base, scientists watched screens filled with energy readings, malfunctions, and explosions, hardly daring to believe what they were seeing. The aliens, who had laughed at humanity from the moment they arrived, were beginning to panic. Captain Rena and her squad now had the responsibility of directing the weapon's energy to maximize damage against the enemy fleet. Every second was critical, every move had to be precise. Outside in space, human pilots coordinated attacks, weaving through alien patrols and directing the hidden weapon's pulses to disrupt shields, engines, and weapon systems. The fleet's formation began to collapse. Ships collided, their weapons misfired, and alien signals became chaotic. The universe had never witnessed humans fighting with such cleverness and courage. The squad's confidence grew, but Rena knew this was only part of the battle. The aliens were resourceful, and one powerful ship still remained, a massive command ship hidden deep within the fleet. Its energy readings were unlike anything the humans had faced. Scientists warned that it contained the alien fleet's ultimate weapon, capable of destroying Earth in seconds if deployed. Rena's heart raced, but her mind was clear. She called a meeting with the pilots, engineers, and strategists in orbit. "We have weakened them," she said, "but one ship remains that can destroy us all. We must strike now, carefully, and use every tool we have." The plan was simple but dangerous. The hidden weapon's energy would be directed to disrupt the command ship, while elite pilots performed a precise assault on its core. Every participant understood the stakes. Mistakes were not allowed. Back on Earth, the population watched nervously as the news channels broadcast live updates. People saw their best pilots flying against a fleet that dwarfed their imagination. Fear and hope intertwined as citizens held their breath. In space, the humans executed the plan flawlessly at first. The hidden weapon emitted waves of energy that rippled through the alien fleet, causing ships to explode one after another. The pilots weaved between debris, dodging energy beams and collapsing ships. The command ship tried to retaliate, firing its ultimate weapon, but the pulses from the human device blocked and destabilized the energy, saving countless lives. Rena's skill, the pilot's courage, and the scientist's guidance worked together like a single organism, each movement precise, each action critical. Yet suspense remained high. The alien command ship was still dangerous. Its size and energy output were overwhelming. Any misstep could destroy the squad and Earth. Rena had to act decisively. She calculated the trajectory and timing, guiding the human device to strike the ship's weak point, a core exposed after the disruption caused by the fleet's collapse. The hidden weapon pulsed like a heartbeat, sending waves of energy that made alien shields flicker and fail. Pilots launched precise attacks on the ship's surface, targeting engines and weapon systems. The command ship shook violently, its defenses crumbling under the coordinated assault. Explosions erupted in a synchronized symphony of destruction, light and fire reflecting across space. From the control base on Earth, scientists and commanders cheered as systems that had once seemed invincible failed one by one. Humanity was striking back, and for the first time, the odds seemed to shift in their favor. But the aliens were not yet defeated. The command ship, though weakened, had a final weapon. It emitted a massive energy pulse aimed directly at Earth. Panic swept across the planet. Cities braced for impact, evacuation systems scrambled, and millions feared the end was near. Captain Rena's voice cut through the tension. "Now!" she shouted. The hidden weapon released a concentrated pulse at the alien ship's energy core. In a blinding flash, the command ship erupted, its shields shattered, its weapons destroyed, and its hull ripped apart. Smaller alien ships around it were affected, malfunctioning and crashing into space. The ultimate weapon of the fleet was gone, and the aliens were in full retreat. Humans had struck back with strategy, courage, and ingenuity. The squad returned to Earth orbit, battered but victorious. Cheers erupted across the planet as people realized the fleet was no longer a threat. Humanity had survived an enemy that had seemed unbeatable. Captain Rena's leadership, the pilot's skill, and the scientist's brilliance had saved billions of lives. Yet even in triumph, suspense lingered. Unknown signals flickered across the screens, hinting that other alien observers were watching. The victory was real, but the universe had not yet finished testing humanity. Captain Rena reflected on what they had achieved. Humans had fought an enemy far stronger and more advanced than themselves, using courage, teamwork, and intelligence. Earth had survived, but the lesson was clear. In the cosmos, danger was constant, and survival required vigilance, creativity, and unwavering resolve. The hidden weapon had turned the tide, but it had also reminded humans of their potential. The aliens had learned, too late, that humans did not surrender, that they could adapt, fight, and win even against impossible odds. Across Earth, celebrations began, but the leaders knew this was not the end. Rebuilding would take time, and vigilance would remain essential. Captain Rena and her squad were honored as heroes, but they understood that the universe was vast and full of dangers yet unseen. Humanity had struck back, and for now, they had won. But the stars still held challenges, mysteries, and threats that would test them again. The victory against the alien fleet was proof of one thing: humans would not surrender. They would fight, survive, and rise stronger than ever. The universe had been warned. Humanity had learned to strike back, and the stars would remember the day Earth refused to be defeated. The alien fleet had been shattered, their command ship destroyed, and Earth's defenders finally had a moment to breathe. Yet even in victory, tension remained. Captain Rena stood on the bridge of the control base, staring at the screens showing scattered alien ships fleeing the solar system. The skies above Earth were quiet for the first time in weeks, but everyone knew the calm could be temporary. Humanity had won the battle, but the war for the stars was far from over. Citizens poured into streets to celebrate, cheering, waving flags, and hugging loved ones. The world had survived against an enemy that had mocked their very existence, and hope spread like wildfire. Yet for the soldiers and pilots, the victory was bittersweet. Many of their comrades had been lost, ships destroyed, and cities ruined. Earth had survived, but the cost was written across every horizon. Captain Rena looked at her squad, each one exhausted but alive. They had accomplished what many had thought impossible. They had struck back against a technologically superior alien force and survived. The hidden weapon, now fully under human control, had played a crucial role in turning the tide. Its energy had disrupted the fleet, disabled ships, and ultimately destroyed the alien command vessel. Humanity's courage and ingenuity had made the stars burn with the proof that they could fight back, that they could survive, and that they would not surrender. But even as celebrations erupted, subtle signals flickered on the monitors, unknown transmissions from the far reaches of space. Scientists leaned over consoles, trying to decode them, but their origins and meaning were unclear. The messages hinted at intelligence watching, learning, and waiting. The universe had noticed humans, and curiosity and caution filled the minds of every leader and strategist. Captain Rena, however, remained focused. She knew that Earth's survival depended not only on victory but on preparation for what might come next. Pilots conducted patrols in orbit, engineers repaired damaged satellites and weapon systems, and scientists continued to study the alien technology to ensure humanity was never caught off guard again. Rena felt a mixture of pride and caution. Humanity had won, but the cosmos was vast, unpredictable, and dangerous. One victory did not guarantee safety. In orbit, the surviving human pilots flew formations to signal their strength and readiness. Their skill and coordination now rivaled the alien fleet itself. Across Earth, children stared at the night sky, wondering what other beings might exist and dreaming of adventure, inspired by the bravery of Captain Rena and her team. Across the planet, citizens and governments realized that humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had turned fear into courage, weakness into strategy, and chaos into victory. Earth's defenders had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. The stars themselves seemed to shimmer differently, as though recognizing the human spirit burning brighter than ever. Meanwhile, Captain Rena stood on the observation deck of the base, looking at the heavens. She knew that the signals were warnings, that other alien civilizations might be observing Earth, waiting for the right moment. Yet she also knew that humans had proven something fundamental. They would not surrender, they would adapt, and they would fight with every ounce of strength they had. Across the globe, celebrations continued, but leaders quietly planned, scientists continued research, and soldiers prepared for the next threat. The events had changed humanity forever. People had witnessed courage, determination, and ingenuity at its highest level. Rena's squad became legends overnight, symbols of hope and proof that humans could defy impossible odds. Humanity had learned that survival in the universe required more than weapons and technology. It required bravery, unity, and the will to never give up. As Earth rebuilt, the hidden weapon remained a symbol and a tool, ready to defend against any future threat. Rena looked at it on the screens, the energy pulsing in rhythm with the planet's heartbeat, and she felt a quiet confidence. Humanity had faced annihilation and survived. The aliens had mocked Earth, laughed at its people, and believed humans would crumble under pressure. They had learned too late that humans do not surrender, that they fight when hope seems lost, and that they can turn despair into triumph. The universe had witnessed a force it had underestimated, humans, united, courageous, and determined. Across Earth, cities began reconstruction, and the planet slowly returned to life. Families reunited, leaders planned wisely, and scientists explored new possibilities using the alien technology they had captured. Captain Rena, honored as a hero, understood that her work, and humanity's, was far from over. The stars were no longer just distant lights. They were challenges to face, mysteries to solve, and battles to fight. Humanity had made the stars burn, not with fire alone, but with courage, defiance, and brilliance. As she gazed into the night sky, Rena reflected on the journey, from fear to hope, from defeat to triumph. The galaxy had learned that Earth would never bow, never surrender, and never be underestimated. The stars themselves now carried the story of humanity's courage, a blazing reminder to the universe that humans were strong, clever, and unyielding. And though the signals from deep space hinted at future challenges, humanity had been tested and proven ready. Captain Rena and her squad had led the planet to victory, and Earth had emerged stronger, united, and determined. The stars burned, yes, but they burned with the light of human courage, and the universe had been warned. Humanity would fight, survive, and rise, no matter what awaited among the stars.